So Dick and Kathy, can we talk a little bit about using science notebooks in our teaching, the benefits of using notebooks?
In the CPUP science classroom, students are acting like scientists. They're doing activities, they're investigating questions. And in doing that, they have to put their information somewhere. And it has to be in an organized, structured way. We know that in middle school, it's crucial for students to learn a structure, to learn a way to make meaning out of what they're doing. And the CPUP lab notebook allows them to do that. It allows them to record their question, it allows them to record their data, it allows them to make meaning. We also know that the CPUP classroom is an inquiry-based classroom. And using a notebook in inquiry is really important. Right, Kath?
Yes, everything you said about being engaged in scientific questions and valuing evidence and evaluating what they're doing, those are all essential skills of inquiry. And the last two, though, about making connections and communicating your findings, you can't do without a notebook. The other three you could do in a regular classroom, but you can't fulfill all the essential features of inquiry unless you have a notebook for kids to interact with not only their own work, but to share their work with their peers and then to incubate their ideas and then produce a product.
Well, I know the research suggests that students get better at writing in the act of writing, and that the use of science notebooks has led to large gains in student achievement.
We know that there's two aspects of writing, the informal writing and the formal writing. And we know that the journals are great at promoting this informal kind of writing in which students are recording information. And you're right, you know, the more that they write, the better they're at it. And we're saying that we want students to own the learning, and therefore we want them to own the journal. And so the more that we can have them create that ownership, the more important we'll find in terms of what they're recording, what they're putting down, and they get better at it. And that's why, you know, in Michigan, the students aren't losing their journals.
Can you share a couple of your thoughts about the use of science notebooks in promoting metacognition, that is, students thinking about their own thinking?
There's a process that we know about reflection that creates more long-term learning. And so the types of questions that CPUP asks in the analysis questions promote that type of reflective thinking. And it's not enough just to have the thinking, you need to write it down. And so we're saying that there's a place in your notebook to record that reflection. And as we indicated earlier, you know, there's several teachers who have seen huge jumps in terms of student performance as a result of doing this type of reflective writing.
Our approach to the notebook really honors students' thinking right from the get-go. I mean, we ask them to write down what they're thinking before they even start an activity, just to honor what they already know. And then they are able to see by going back and doing the reflection questions that Dick's talking about, they're able to see how they've changed. And a lot of times it happens in 45-minute period where they're looking at like, oh, I thought this at the beginning of the period and now I know this and this is how my thinking has changed. But they have to have that format and structure to actually have that fun, to have that discovery.
And we know that they have to write it. It's not enough for the teacher to ask that question in the brainstorm in the beginning without the students writing it down. And the notebook provides that opportunity to do it. So the setup and the structure of a notebook allows for that writing to take place. And it might be a picture, it might be a drawing, it doesn't have to be words, but it has to be written. And we know that that's crucial.